remember going to the mall as a kid. You'd walk through those doors and get hit with a mix of popcorn, perfume, and possibility. The arcade buzzed, the food court was packed, and somewhere near the back, your mom was negotiating a deal on khakis at JCPenney. But today, that same mall might be a ghost town. So what happened? Well, this is the story of how America built a $230 billion retail empire and then let it rot. In this video, we'll explore how malls went from cultural juggernauts to cautionary tales, and what their decline tells us about business, consumer behavior, and American culture. You're watching Slide 72, where we dig into the business stories hiding in plain sight. From collapsing retail giants to cultural flashpoints and startup flameouts, we break down how things rise, how they fall, and what that says about the world around us. If you're into thoughtful commentary, sharp analysis, and photojournalistic deep dives, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's walk. Okay, so let's go back. In 1956, the Southdale Center opens in Minnesota. It was the first fully enclosed shopping mall in the US, and it was designed by architect Victor Gruen, who ironically hated what malls would eventually become. After World War II, everyone was moving to the suburbs, and the mall was the perfect response to that shift. It was climate-controlled, car-friendly, and packed with everything from Sears to Sbarro. By the 1980s and 1990s, malls shifted from just a place to shop to town squares. Teenagers hung out at Orange Julius and adults browsed at Radio Shack. And at their peak, the US had over 1,500 enclosed malls, and we were building more than 100 a year. By 1990, malls accounted for over half of all US retail sales. But this wasn't just a retail success story. It was urban planning, culture, and psychology all rolled into one. Malls were symbols of postwar optimism, suburban independence, and the rise of consumer identity. Developers weren't just selling square footage, they were selling a lifestyle. There's fountains, skylights, and even fake town squares indoors. Some even had ice rinks or indoor amusement parks, and Wall Street loved it. Malls were cash machines. Predictable leases, creditworthy anchors, and rent escalations backed into long-term deals. If you were a REIT in the 80s or 90s, malls were gold. But behind the scenes, trouble was starting to brew because America was overbuilding. By the 2000s, the US had nearly 25 square feet of retail space per person, and that was 5 times than Europe. We weren't just saturated, we were drowning in malls. And then came 3 gut punches. First one was that big box stores like Walmart and Target offered lower prices and easier access. Second one was that e-commerce began to rise. By 2023, online shoppers accounted for 20% of all US retail. And number 3, the Great Recession hit in 2008, and malls never really fully recovered from that lull. And let's talk more about those anchor stores, because when they fell, they brought down everything with them. Department stores weren't just tenants, they were traffic engines. Their square footage subsidized the smaller tenants, but they were slow to adapt. Sears, for example, once had the tools to become Amazon, before Amazon. Catalog distribution, warehousing, and customer trust. But it missed the internet train completely. Other stores like JCPenney tried rebrands, and Macy's merged and restructured. But by the 2010s, their sales were tanking. And with each closure, malls started to lose their gravitational pull. During the period of 2017 to 2022, America lost over 5,800 malls and shopping centers. That was roughly 1,170 closures a year. Some Class C, not classy, but Class C malls, those in poor areas, now sit at around 13% vacancy. And the really bad ones are around 40% or more. And we call those ones ghost malls. Dead malls aren't just an economic story. They've almost become cultural artifacts. YouTube channels like Dan Bell and Retail Archaeology document them like urban ruins, and inside you'll find old Hot Topic signs, carousel rides, everything just frozen in time. Some are downright eerie, oddly beautiful. There's something haunting about watching a place built for joy and commerce fall completely silent. But it wasn't just business decisions that caused this collapse. The culture changed. Sociologists have a term, the third place. It's not home, not work, but somewhere you go just to be. And for decades, the mall was that third place for teens and families. But now, that place doesn't really exist in the same way. Gen Z's third place is digital. Discord servers, Fortnite lobbies, TikTok comment sections. And that shift has consequences. Fewer chance encounters, less community formation, and more isolation for people without access to vibrant digital spaces. The decline of malls may be a footnote in retail history, but it's also a symptom of how physical community space has essentially disappeared. And shopping is different too. You can now browse 20 stores in 5 minutes on your phone. And the middle class is the engine of mall traffic, and they've stagnated. People are spending less time and money walking around retail temples looking for stuff that they don't need. The mall used to be the place, now it's a relic. So what's left? The top dogs. Class A malls in wealthy areas are actually doing fine. Some even saw 11% sales growth after COVID. And why is that? Well, it's because they adapted. They added restaurants, gyms, escape rooms, and they've really leaned into experiences, stuff Amazon can't deliver. In fact, the anchor tenant of the modern mall isn't a department store. It's a Lego playland or a yoga studio. And it's not just survival of the fittest, it's really a flight to quality. Retailers are pulling out of weaker malls and consolidating into the strongest ones. So that means if your mall isn't top tier with a strong location, affluent zip code, and entertainment value, you're in trouble. In this new landscape, there's not really any room for mediocrity. Malls either evolve into lifestyle ecosystems or they fade out. And some malls have pivoted entirely. In Austin, Texas, an old mall became a community college campus. In Ohio, a dead Sears turned into a medical center, and elsewhere, they're adding housing, offices, and libraries. Cities everywhere are waking up to the fact that these sites are prime real estate. They have tons of parking, utilities, and square footage. In 10 years, the shell of your old mall might become a dentist's office, tech startup, and a community college, all under one roof. Mixed-use development is the new strategy, and it's working. So what can we learn from the rise and fall of malls? Well, 1, never assume growth lasts forever. Overbuilding killed the mall. 2, consumers change faster than businesses expect. If you don't adapt, you die. 3, culture isn't static. What once felt like a destination now feels like a chore. And 4, the middle class matters. When they get squeezed, discretionary spending goes with it. The American mall told us who we were: suburban, optimistic, status-driven. And today, their decline tells us something else. We value convenience, experience, and speed. But maybe there's still room for a new kind of mall. Less about the stuff, more about community. The average US mall is entering into a new era, and maybe that's the real story here. Malls didn't die. The context around them changed. And like any good business model, the ones that listened survived. The rest, they become history. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got value from it, please show me by hitting the like button below and subscribe for more deep dives every month.